This is the Between Two Firms podcast, episode 19.
Like, wait a minute, let's reframe this just one second.
These are good problems to have.
And what we can do with money to help our family over generations.
And working towards my entire career, I decided, you know what, I think I need to do my own thing.
And I'm like, awesome.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Nick Kobos, host of the Between Two Firms podcast, and I'm joined, as always, by my friend and co-host, Matt Nomchik, who seems to be making the most of his casual Friday. For those of you watching the video,
I'm trying to keep it casual, just like you every day. I get one day a week where
Hey,
I
dudes.
can dress down a little bit.
Hey dudes, till I die. It's the only if for anybody out there, who hasn't worn Hey Dudes, it's the shoe to end all shoes. Matt gives me grief because I wear. Matt gives me grief.
I'd get some Saga branded ones, maybe.
Ooh,
Saga.
that's what I don't know about the shoes, but Matt gives me grief. Once you wear Hey Dudes, this is for the male audience. I don't know, women, our female audience.
They're not really marketing to unisex with a name like that, I guess.
I guess not. That's true. But for the male audience, once you try on Hey Dudes, it's the perfect shoe. Imagine a Croc. And we're not sponsored by Hey Dude. Wouldn't be the worst thing. But it's like Crocs, but you can wear it with socks without looking ridiculous. And the styrofoam material doesn't rub on your toes. It's just the superior shoe. You can wear it to work. You can wear it to walk the dog. You can wear it out and about. I mean, we're going on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, that was a super high value tangent.
The bottom line is, if you haven't gotten a pair of Hey Dudes, you need to. What are you doing? Stop listening to this podcast. Go buy some Hey Dudes.
Point taken. Yeah, I'll write that down. But we got a pretty good episode today. You guys took a bit of a deep dive on the technology stack. We're kind of experimenting, I guess, with the format of the middle section of the podcast, where it can kind of go anywhere. And this one kind of went deep down that road.
Yeah, I mean, me and David talked through tech stack and kind of compared notes on a lot of the different platforms that we've used. Some of them different, a lot of them different, but some of them we have in common. Tallyfor, the trial balance software. It was cool talking to somebody else out in the wild who's using Tallyfor, and he actually knew the guys over at Tallyfor. Peter, who like I mentioned in the episode, I did a support call with the other day. Great product. I love Tallyfor. Yeah, it was just cool to compare notes and see kind of what platforms have worked, what platforms haven't. We talked a little bit about AI. When I came out from doing the interview, Matt was rolling his eyes at listening to us muggles talk about the AI. But I gave it my best shot. AI
is for everyone. So
don't believe him. He's a snob.
At whatever skill level.
Matt is
even at mixed skill level. They make AI that can be talked to even at the mind of a
primitive
skill level.
So the mind of a child is a wonder. No, Matt, don't believe a word he says. Matt is an AI elitist. He is as elitist as they get when it comes to tech and AI. Matt looks down on all of us untechy, again, us mere mortals. But no, it was great. It was great talking to David and just comparing notes. Had a great time, and I don't know how the listening audience feels, but for me, like doing the conversations, I'll get into it and we'll just be talking, and all of a sudden I look up and I'm like, oh my god, it's been an hour 5 minutes. Like, what are we doing? And there's like so many other things that I want to hit, So
right.
Anyway,
we talked about shortening it, but I really think that is kind of the benefit of the long form discussions, is it gives you an opportunity to just let the conversation breathe a bit
and just BS a little, yeah. So for firm update. This one's kind of it's not the freshest news. It's been a couple weeks,
a little bit tardy, but we're still coming. Yeah, we're still coming off the
tax season
highs.
That is true. We I think we'd mentioned before we brought on a tax intern during the heat of tax season. we brought on a tax intern. Her name is Kiasa. She's been absolutely killing it, and we've enjoyed her so much that we've kept her on post tax season, and now she's branching out, doing some bookkeeping, and some administrative work for us too.
Yep, she's very much a flex player. She is kind of the driving force between our recent surge in guest scheduling for the podcast.
Yeah, she's
kind of got 6 arms up there at the front of the office.
She
doing all this
does.
stuff.
She does. She's an absolute killer when it comes to lining up guests for the podcast, which is something that I historically have not been the best about. But she's been an amazing addition to the team, and we found her for anybody listening, in case anybody's curious, maybe not, but we found her in the middle of tax season. I will give Matt credit. I seldom give Matt credit. I try not to inflate.
I will humbly take credit.
Good. Humbly, good. I appreciate the humility. I try not to inflate Matt's ego, but I will give him credit. He had this idea, and I was like, whatever. But what we did was we just reached out to the local community college. We have a community college 15 minutes down the road with an accounting department. We just shot the head of the accounting department an email and just said, hey, we're looking for a tax intern. Here's kind of what it would look like. Do you have anybody? And I think they sent us 5 or 6 people. That were,
and it was it was a pretty quick turnaround too.
Yeah, it's like immediate.
We put it out and then had a slew of interviews scheduled like the following week.
Yeah, we had interviews scheduled the next week. Interviewed 4. We got 5 or 6. We interviewed, I think, 4. Of the 4, 2 of them were phenomenal, and we ended up with Kiasa. And I love. I will say, it's so nice hiring from the position of like it being a hard decision. Like it's nice being like, oh my God, this is a hard decision because we just have multiple people that we think would be great.
Yeah,
and it just worked out beautifully. Like I don't know, people I hear on other podcasts and like in groups, people saying that it's hard to find folks, and obviously it was an intern level role. It's not a manager role, so I get that. But it took us a week, and it's been amazing.
Got her spun up on all the systems.
She's
and cranking on the production stuff. So that was really good.
So anyway, that's our firm update. Anything else, or should we jump into it?
No, I think we talked enough. We can go ahead and transition into the episode with David.
All right, let's do it. All right, I'm joined today by our guest, David. David, how are you?
Good, Nick. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Really excited to have you. David Tunstall is coming to us from Charlotte, North Carolina, and his firm is called the Tunstall Organization. I've got a couple of questions that just based on the intake sheet that I want to hit on. But before we get in the episode, I cannot help but notice you've got what appears to be the big ass calendar behind you on the wall.
Yes,
is that
I did. I bit the bullet on that one.
I've got one at the house. How do you like it?
I mean, I like it. It's just, I was like, it was kind of a novelty. I'm like, all right, let me try it. And I got 25 and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then they changed it for 26. So I got it and it's good. It's fine.
Yeah. I saw it last year and it was like halfway through the year. I was like, oh, whatever. But I got it for 2026 and I've really liked it. The problem is it's just really big. So finding a spot to put it. But it's nice being able to kind of plan the whole year out off the rip.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's for sure like one of those things that was just like batched. I'm like, all right, let me just get all the calendar stuff in, and then I like the extent of my, updating it is just really Xing off the days, at this point.
Yeah. Well, I find I use Google Calendar, or we use Google Calendar for like the week to week and day to day.
Yeah.
But it's nice having something where you can see the whole year at once for planning kind of all the one-off stuff. Like I don't necessarily run day-to-day life off it, but it's nice just to make sure that you're bucketing time for all all the things that you don't think about if you just go straight into the week to week. I don't
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it. I couldn't help but notice. It's very cool. Well,
Mm.
before we get into talking about your practice, why don't you start? Can you tell me a little bit about how you got into accounting to begin with, and then from accounting, what made you decide to go out and launch your own firm?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, I got into accounting by choosing a major in college, and I was like, okay, what am I going to choose? I wanted to do business. I didn't know
Mm,
which. I actually didn't start off really understanding accounting that well. I'm like, okay, what is this? I didn't have it in high school. I did do, I did well in math in high school, but I didn't like accounting's just like it's like a language, right? It's like
yeah.
learning how the framework works, and that was actually not something that I got that quickly. But I stuck with it, and then graduated. I did audit for just to got a job, and that was good for 3 years. And I had always wanted to like go to New York City. And I don't know about always, but it was definitely at the time something I wanted to do. And so I got a job after audit for 3 years. I did financial reporting for public company,
Mm,
and we were like a small group, probably like 6 or 7 people, but then we dealt with um management reporting and SEC reporting, and just integrating a bunch of just financial data from all over the world, like because we were the HQ and then they were all the subsidiaries, and they'd so we'd have like these feast or famine, and it would be like working crazy hours, and then like the next day we're playing solitaire. It's like it was like not much. It was like a lot or nothing. And about 3 years of that, I actually got laid off. Our group, like they just, you know, needed less people. And
mhm.
um, I was a little bummed, but I was also pretty kind of I did there was a part of me that like it was freeing for me. It was like, okay, I
Yeah.
get to go off on my own and do something. And so then I just like hit the pavement talking to like I went to the restaurant of the place where I got married and was like, "Hey, do you need an accountant?" And just, knocking on doors. I connected with a headhunter that got me some contract work at some nonprofits, and just it was kind of exciting doing that and building the business. And then that was like it's like 2002, so it was a long time ago. But
Mhm.
and then after 2 years of that doing it, like as a sole proprietor, I just picked like a tax efficient S corp, and was like, okay, I made the name, the Tunstall Organization, and then have been working with some SMBs, small to mid-sized businesses since then. Starting off really on the bookkeeping accounting side, but then also like now doing a lot more tax.
Okay. So when you started the firm, had that been your plan, or did you just kind of take the opportunity and say, "Hey, instead of looking for another job, like let me just jump now," or was it something that was already kind of working around in your head?
That's a good question. I think it was something that I had wanted to do. Like I was mid like that was like the Rich Dad Poor Dad days, like the Robert
Yeah.
Kiyosaki came out and stuff. And it's like so that it was like that ethos. Like Trump was at the Learning Annex. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but that was like a big thing in New York City. It was like these events that would happen, and like
Mm,
they'd throw these different like I'd call it professional education events. And you just learn about different things. And So, but yeah, business ownership was one of them, and it was one of the quadrants. So I was like, okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. And
Hmm.
I had, so then I just went with that, and it was just like, who do I want to work with? Like this, who's it? What businesses are exciting? What doors do I want to knock on? And so yeah, I ended up getting some clients that I wanted to work with, and it was cool.
Oh, and so how did you get that first kind of initial client list? And you mentioned kind of hustling and just kind of door knocking and you know finding them where just going to business owners that you already knew. Was that kind of the process that you filled your first book of business with?
It was, but I think the leverage that I had at the time was that I was familiar with QuickBooks Desktop, and it
Hmm.
actually, believe it or not, was like cutting edge at one point. Like that was like, people were not using on a laptop like an accounting software. And so I even got a lot of skepticism from the nonprofit that I worked with, because they had Peachtree, and I'm like, I think QuickBooks is going to be better because
Yeah.
it's just gonna get better reporting. We'll be able to do a lot more things, and I would like walk them through it. And it was kind of like still like, all right, well, let's wait and see. I don't really like the name QuickBooks. Like that doesn't inspire like confidence or something. And it's like, but yet, like now 20 years later, they've really ramped up, and now they're pretty much
Yeah.
ubiquitous in the
Yeah.
US, like QBO and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing there's been a lot of change. Like you've seen a lot of change in the platforms and the tools that are out there since you've kind of been running your practice. How has your tech stack or the tools that you use on a day-to-day basis like evolved since starting the firm uh to now?
Yeah, I mean, it started with, PC and QuickBooks Desktop, and then I actually got hit at some point with I was working with a retail client in Soho, and they didn't want like PC monitors. They wanted Mac monitor. They wanted the
Okay.
Apple, like
Yeah.
just visually and everything.
Hmm.
And I'm like, all right, like how am I going to solve that? Because QuickBooks had like a point of sale, but it was like, all right. So what ended up happening is I ended up losing a portion of that business because somebody else was like right in there with the Mac um,
Could do it on Mac.
software and
Yeah.
the POS, yeah. And so I kind of went from like, okay, I better like learn Mac. So I got a Mac, and then like with the cloud, um, it kind of made it just agnostic what operating system you have. It's just like as long as it's in
Yeah.
the browser. Um, and then from there, it's just like, okay, we're in the cloud, we're all the tools. It's not as like quick as QuickBooks. It's more like process slow. There's like heavy like graphics and all this, but it was like more scalable, I guess, and it would plug into more things. I didn't have to have my own servers. I could just like outsource
Yeah.
that. So that was like, okay, cool. And so yeah, I guess those are some of the like stages that I've gone through, like in terms of like just doing bookkeeping. One thing that's been constant actually is I've been using. Well, I started with Lacert on the tax side, and
Okay.
then now I'm like in ProConnect, and I've been with ProConnect for a while.
Okay.
So yeah, just using that as a tool. Yeah, I'd say those. I mean, and then now, like, I mean, AI is like kind of changing a lot in the way I think about a lot of things. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's with you too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like,
It's just constant. Yeah.
it's just like, okay, where, and then you think you've touched bottom, and then there's like a whole new world that opens up, and it's like, oh wow,
That's exactly how I feel.
okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've been playing with that, and building some things, vibe coding some stuff, just to see like what can I, and out of necessity at first, like somebody gave me an Excel spreadsheet that we're working on. So it was a tax client, and they gave me
Hmm.
an Excel spreadsheet, but it didn't I- it wasn't it like it just needed to be updated. So I'm like, all right, how can I update this? Because if we have to go back and forth and back and forth, it's going to take forever. So I just like spun up like this bare bones general ledger to get the reporting, get like the P&L and balance sheet. And it was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The AI I could just do that to solve that problem. It's like, well, okay, if I can do that, can I solve these other problems?
Right. What is that in Claude that you're doing that, or are you using OpenAI?
Okay, so yeah, I started um using Replit, which is
Replit.
it's like a self-contained development environment
Okay.
where you can just go and tell it what you want to build, and it'll like spin up something. Claude is probably the back end, or probably a variation of like Claude, uh OpenAI, and like whatever, anything else. I don't think Gemini's in there, but and so it's like this environment where you can like spin up something, and I did that. But what I realized is like the amount of things that I want to do, it's way too expensive to do it in that environment.
Is it token based instead of like
Yeah,
a
it's
fixed?
like
Yeah. Okay.
it's like every like day they're like, okay, you've reached your limit, now you have to like buy more. And it's like, oh gosh, I gotta keep. So it was like, all right, that was cool at first, and I'm like, you know what, I gotta find like a solution that may not have everything I need like in one container, but that has the pieces that I need, that's not going to be so expensive.
Yeah. Well, what's the advantage of using a Replit over like just chucking stuff into Claude Cowork? Like, what does the Replit tool add in? I'm not familiar with it, and so I'm curious kind of how it
Yeah,
works.
I think there's others too. Like there's something called Lovable, and I think there's some other competitors too. But what Replit specifically did was it just allowed me to just type vibe code my ideas. Like, hey, this is my idea. Like, build it, and then in another panel, it's building it. It has the database there. It has like the live to the web um connection, so it's like hosting it too. It's like
Hmm.
it almost has all of the pieces that a developer would need, but it's all contained within that environment.
Gotcha. Okay. We it I like your kind of general ledger Excel kind of, I mean, that's literally something that we've gotten a couple of just kind of I say gross, gnarly cleanups where first year business owner, and they just have a mess of spreadsheets and kind of convert. And you're right, before it would have been a pain in the butt having to import all that into QBO. You got to get them on a QBO subscription, get all that set up in the actual, ledger before you can even start doing the bookkeeping. And then you got to manually go through and do the bookkeeping. And now, yeah, you just chuck it into Cowork, and it's just spits it out in 5-10 minutes, and you're done. And it's amazing.
Sounds like you're doing it smarter than I am, because like Replit took a while and it was kind of expensive, but it sounds like Cowork might have that feature that just it might be. I don't know. I haven't used it yet.
I would say we're still relatively new to Cowork. We've been on Chat GPT We've
Okay.
used ChatGPT pretty much since I started. And we were using exclusively ChatGPT until about, I mean, I think it was like about a month now. It was after we weren't like first on the ball when the cowork thing came out. Because of tax season. Just head down in tax season, right?
Sure.
But after tax season wrapped up, everybody's talking about the cowork and kind of started chucking stuff in there. And it's been it just exactly like I loved your analogy about like you think you've touched bottom and then you realize like, oh no, like it goes way deeper. Like it can
do
do
more.
all this. Yeah, it can do so much more. I mean, I did it just today. I'll give you like an example. So we have a pricing calculator. So when we get a tax client, this is the pricing calculator that spits out our quote. And our pricing calculator, it's probably a little more complicated than it needs to be. But basically, there's target rates for prep work, target rates for review, like the review time, and then target rate for basically ongoing advisory. And so there's 3 different target rates that are getting blended together in different proportions to come up with the uniform price that the client sees. And so, but we have different options. We have different service levels that the client can choose from. And so basically what will happen is the client selects their service option, pays, and then on the back end in our project management system, we have to input the time budget. And there's a different time budget for the prep of the tax return, which combines prep and review. So it's just the tax return is one time budget, and advisory is another time budget. And basically what was happening is we would calculate, we would do an estimate for a new tax client, give them a price, then they would sign, and then we go to put in the time budget. And because there's like these 3 different variables at play, we have no way to reverse engineer, or it was a real pain in the butt trying to reverse engineer and say, okay, where did we anticipate this time being allocated, right? And because it was like an algebra. I literally wrote it out this morning. It was literally an algebra, like 3 variable algebra equation. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I was about to just kind of start from the ground up and be like, okay, we just need to redo how we price. I was like, wait a second, and I just chucked it into Cowork. And in 3 minutes, I didn't even tell it how our pricing worked. I just said, "Hey, here's how I price. Can you make a tool that would reverse engineer, what the time estimates would be based on, this, that, and that?" And it just spat it out, and it worked on the first go. It was amazing. It was amazing. Took 3 minutes,
cool.
and like I just, it blows my mind how smart it is. Yeah, and how capable it is.
Totally. But then I guess then the next challenge is, okay, so then how do you get it in your firm management software, right?
Yeah, right. Giving it access to everything. And that's that's the game, right? Like that's the struggle. Like for us, the struggle is, how do we actually apply it where it's not just you sitting at the terminal telling it to, right? Like how do you just give it native access without opening security kind of cans of worms? That's one. And then 2 is like we struggle with what can we put into it, or like what are we comfortable putting into it and what are we not comfortable putting into it. Yeah.
No, for sure. It's it just opens up I mean, like so what you're doing would be, I mean, you in that case you'd almost want like, and that might be something that Replit or could do, or some, let's call it AI agent, maybe Claude Cowork even, is like connecting the API through that secure portal where it's encrypted or something.
Yeah, more and more of the tools are coming out, and Matt's listening. You can chime in, Matt. I'm trying to remember for the AI. They don't call it an API. They call it
the MCP or something.
Yeah, the MCP. Yeah. And I think a couple of our tools, I believe Financial Sense either had that. We use Financial Sense as our practice management system. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's
I use TaxDome, but how do you like Financial Sense?
We really like it on the bookkeeping side.
Mhm.
It's perfect for us on the bookkeeping side. We love it on the bookkeeping side, and I really love it overall for firm management. And just to keep track of projects. I think we have it pretty well dialed in. It does have some limitations on the tax side, especially around um, delivery, collecting signatures, and just having to have multiple portals. So we'll use Stanford Tax to get the documents, which is separate from financial set. And so there's a little bit of
I
clunkiness on
gotcha.
the tax side. On the
Yeah,
bookkeeping side,
yeah,
it's seamless. But so I would give it, we're like 50-50. We're 55% books, 45% tax. So it's a pretty even
yeah.
split.
Okay.
So for us it works, but if you're tax heavy, I don't know. I
No,
probably
we're
wouldn't
about the
recommend being
same
tax heavy.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about the same. And that's it, but you bring up a good point because it's like you want like ideally you want one firm management tool, right? That
Right.
does everything. And so if there and you almost need like maybe two separate branches or something of that, like where it's like accounting has its own like taxonomy and tax has its own taxon, kind of the
Yeah.
way it works. And then, you're gonna, but I guess you're gonna need are you gonna need accounting signatures? I don't know. Probably not. But the tax signatures you're gonna need, for that. So yeah, you need something. They
It's
need
really
to.
it's the KBA thing. That's the biggest pain in the butt with financial sense is it can't do. They have some Adobe signature integration that is janky at best.
Okay.
And they don't do KBA. So like that's the real pain in the butt. And then of course it doesn't integrate with Stanford like some others do. I think Carbon now has a native integration with Stanford Tax, and so
Hmm.
um, we love Stanford Tax. But from the client's perspective, is they have to log into Financial Sense and they do everything in Financial Sense, but then once a year they got to upload documents in a Stanford Tax, so it can get a little confusing, I think, for the client.
Okay.
But that's really my biggest beef with it. But the alternative is like you're saying, trying to find something that does everything. And I still think, at least for us right now, like the cost of having multiple platforms or multiple systems, like the efficiency you get from the specialty systems right now, at least, I think outweighs the cons of having multiple. But we'll see. We'll see as it continues to change. And I mean, I don't know if you feel the same way, but across our tech stack, I feel like um, the pace of change has picked up over the past year. Like we've seen more and more updates and more new features and stuff coming out. Some of them better than others. But I just in the last year, the capability of the tools we do use has increased substantially.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you like about Stanford Tax? I'm curious.
We really like Stanford. Two things. One, just having one place to organize the work papers, and that was like the original main selling point, which was, hey, you just chuck all the work papers in Stanford, and it'll sort them and organize them, and then you can download them as a single combined, the single PDF book or binder that the old school style, right? And it'll just make that for you with all the bookmarks already in
Oh,
it.
right. Okay.
That was the original kind of selling point. However, now, and for a while now, they added, like a TIG-tie calculate, like where you can mark up work papers in Stanford Tax.
Okay.
And so now we don't even download the work papers. We just put everything in Stanford Tax and we do the markup in Stanford Tax, and it all just lives in the cloud.
Hmm.
And that's been super cool because, well, one, I just hate fiddling around with PDFs and that's gross. But two, it cut out TikTok Calculate. That's now a subscription we don't need. Stanford is paid per return. I think it's like $16 or something for return.
One
And it
6. That's pretty good.
1 sec, yeah, and it just saves us boatloads of time. And then for recurring clients, it'll, so you have a first year client, it'll take them through, it has a built-in organizer. It takes them through the organizer, and then it'll populate a checklist of documents based off of the organizer. And it's not like the old school kind of form organizer. It's like a logic driven thing. So if you answer yes to something, it'll take you down a different path, right? Kind of
Yeah.
like a little mini TurboTax. But
Yep.
then for repeat clients, it'll generate kind of the pro forma checklist based off of prior year data. And so that's really cool too, because we don't have to redo our checklists, our document checklist for clients every year. So we really like it for those two reasons, and it just saves us so much time on the document intake. But it's one more thing or portal, or it's one more thing that the client has to log into, so
It sounds really, I mean, I do all that manually in TaxDome with the, with the, like what you're saying with the tax organizer, and then, we can build out the dependencies as well. What's preventing Stanford Tax from being the whole thing?
Well, it doesn't really do project tracking. So I have used TaxDome as a client, like many moons ago. My accountant was on TaxDome. I've never used it like as a firm, so I'm not entirely familiar on the back end, kind of the capabilities. But Stanford won't track. It doesn't track time. It doesn't track. There's not like a checklist of steps that need to happen, internally for the firm. It's basically like, here's all the documents. You can mark them up, and then you can export them if you want to. But there's no real like status tracking and kind of keeping tabs on all the projects and where they're all at. And so that's where Financial Sense comes in. Yeah.
Oh,
But for us, it's more of like for us, it's really a production tool. It doesn't hold kind of like firm data or like administrative kind of stuff.
Okay, that actually makes sense, because TaxDome has the pipelines that kind of track the workflow,
Right.
and it sounds like it's basically TaxDome without that, kind of.
Yeah, well, on TaxDome, when you say the pipelines, that's like the pizza tracker thing, right? Where there's different phases of the tax return. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
so
that's the client side facing, but you don't have to turn that on. You can keep that off and keep the pizza tracker off, and just have, build your own pipeline internally for like, hey, where is this client in the process?
First, this person does this, so then that person does that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in prep now, or it's in first review or second review or whatever.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, Stanford doesn't really do that.
Okay.
At least not like natively. You might be able to like use tags and stuff to kind of do that, but that's not what it's designed to do. It's really designed. It's just like a production tool, but it's a pretty good one. I would say we really like that.
That's kind of a high endorsement of that. Like, considering you have the two tools, and like it's like you got to stay on that for the production.
Yeah, like I said, when we started using it, it was just to organize the work papers and create the binder. Like literally, it was just chuck the work papers in it, export the binder, and that was all it did. And I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And then when they added the work paper markup, and it's like we can just do it all in here, I was like, okay, this is amazing. It's so
All right,
great. I love it. The only limitation, or the only thing, and this is I'm curious to see kind of how you guys do it. Is it's not bad, but it doesn't have a trial balance aspect to it. So for entity returns, we'll use it to kind of gather up the work papers, but we still have to. You can't edit Excel in Stanford Tax, and you can't natively map to a trial balance. So that's kind of a pain. I don't know. Do you guys use a trial balance software, or do you do trial balances in Excel?
We experimented with Tallyfor.
Yep. That's what we started using.
Are you using it now?
We're using it now. We started this halfway through this tax season, a little late
This
but
year.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that does everything, right? It pulls it in from QuickBooks or from,
Mhm.
sorry, not everything, but it pulls it in, and then they even have like they've been experimenting. This is one of the places that it broke for us was the JSON file that can auto-magically input everything. Something got broken in there with our like Chrome extension. I don't know if the same thing happened to you, but
So
it
so
did.
like when you would finish the trial balance, and when you go to import it into in a tax software, it would
Yeah, it
kind of
wouldn't like
chunk out.
populate all, or it would duplicate or something, and like so
Gotcha.
that was a little bit of a just maybe a bug, probably. I mean, it worked, it just didn't work like the way we wanted it. So, but the trial balance part of it, yeah, we for a few clients, we pull all the data in from the sync from either Xero or QuickBooks, and then there it is, and now it's like, hey, we need to group it to these lines on the tax return.
Yeah, and that's what we've really loved about it. We for this past tax season, we were on Drake. I think we're gonna move to CCH Access. So for next year, but on
Okay.
Drake, it imported fine. There's like 3 or 4 lines that you kind of start to pick up on, that it'll import it, but it'll put it on line B instead of line A. Like there's like 3 or 4 kind of isms about it that you kind of pick up, but for the most part, the import was pretty good. Like it was still saving us a significant chunk of time versus having to go through and manually enter them all.
That's good.
But yeah, we love, I love using it. I mean, just for exactly like you said, not having to manually enter the trial balance. You just import from QBO, do your thing, and then keep track of all the journal entries, nice and clean. I like that. We don't do the work papers in Tallyfor directly. I don't know if you did, or did you do everything directly in Tallyfor for the work papers, or did you do them
You mean
somewhere else?
grouping all of the accounts to the to the form lines? Is that what you mean?
No, so we use the grouping, but did you like mark up work papers? So like do all your work paper kind of references, or like are the source documents outside of Tallyfor?
Yeah, the source documents are outside.
Okay, yeah, that's what we were doing too. Because I know
Same
they
thing.
have a way where you can just drag the source documents into Tallyfor.
Oh, okay.
And I think they've added some features there, but we haven't really messed with it too much yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this summer we'll tinker with it and for next tax season. But
yeah, full disclosure, I actually I invested in Tallyfor when they came out like a few years ago, and I know they've gone through some changes, but I'm I know Peter and Ben and yeah, I haven't connected with them in a while, but I know that they're always like building stuff, so just wanted to throw that in there.
no, I love that. I had a support call with Peter a couple of weeks ago. That's so funny. So
Okay,
you
cool.
knew them before?
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew Peter. So Peter, he was in reporting at Xero. That's where he started, or I don't know. He may have started somewhere else, but that's where I met him. And he
Okay.
was like, he built out a lot of the Xero reporting. Him and his team, he had something to do with that anyway. And so I met him at like a XeroCon, like early on, and had just kind of like would always see him at the XeroCons, and then one year he's like, "Oh, I'm going off on my own and starting Tallyfor."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's super cool. That's cool to know. So you so you've been using it for a little while now. You were like ground
Yeah, at
floor.
least 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Since they started. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so Oh, that's simple. Well, now you're gonna be my Tallyfor subject matter expert. I'll ping you if I run into any issues. But
Yeah, no, I mean, they, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, look, it's like there's so many changes with, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a whole new product by next season, right? It's like they're
yeah,
probably just adding all of it, there's just so many opportunities, I think, with AI to kind of like build things out. And so yeah, I mean,
especially on
it,
the entity side, I feel like, because on the on the individual side, there's a bunch of tools that that you can kind of pick from. But on the entity side, um, I feel like there is really no. I know there's other trial balance softwares, but I know when we were looking for a trial balance solution, kind of everything else we were looking at was like kind of old and clunky looking and
or
kind
really
of gross.
expensive, right?
Or just yeah, we're just absurdly expensive. Yeah, I had used
Mhm.
oh my gosh, what's it called? Was it CCH Engagement Manager or just Engagement Manager at the firm I'd worked at before. Um and I had really liked that system. The main thing that I liked about that, the main limitation we currently have is like what we'll do now is we'll do the work, the trial balance in Tallyfor, do our journal entries in Tallyfor, but the source documents exist in Stanford Tax. And so what we'll do is like we have our work paper kind of naming convention, right? And so you name all the work papers, and then we'll have, let's say, the A series will be assets, right? And so we'll tie out, bank account one to work paper A1, it ties, and then we'll just take in Stanford Tax, it's called A1. The work paper is called A1, and then the notes in Tallyfor, we just put A1, right? And so that's how we kind of keep track
That's how
of.
you know to go back to where the source is. Okay.
Right. That's how we kind of map it, and that works. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of manual pain in the, like just the I will admit, it just shows you how much like I think we've come to expect from the tech, where I'm even complaining about it. But having to rename all the different work papers is a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
Oh
And then
yeah. Yeah.
having to go back and do the mapping. And so I would love if we could do it natively in Tallyfor. I know you can, but then the problem we've run into on the Tallyfor side is that their markup tools aren't quite as sophisticated. At least they weren't at the beginning of this tax season when we were tinkering with it. I think they have made some updates, but they weren't as sophisticated as the ones in Stanford. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, we absolutely love it. It's been a great product, and it's shaved so much time off of trying to do everything in Excel, and then you get one bad reference, and you spend 15 minutes having to troubleshoot like where the thing broke. And
It's funny you bring up, like, you just reminded me that it's like, all right, computers, right? Like, they're supposed to do things for you, right? They're supposed to go out and like actually be an extension of what you want them to do, to like kind of even like a little thing like that, like where you have to manually name something to tie it. And it's
yeah,
like, hey, like, computer, go name that thing what this is, and let me, or like two separate systems or something.
yeah,
So
and
you
I
do
feel
have
like
that
that's such a
control, but yeah.
yeah. Well, I feel like that's such an easy application, like kind of what you're saying earlier. That's a simple task for AI. Hey, AI,
Yeah.
here's my naming convention for how I want this stack of 30 PDFs, right, named. Go through and name them, right? So that
Hmm.
I don't have to sit there and rename each one individually and then sort them into the right, type of document buckets, right? But to your point, the challenge is like, well, how do you let the AI loose into Tallyfor, into Stanford Tax, right? It's like getting that integration.
Uh, yeah, I mean that's the big thing. And no, I mean like it might be where you have to build your own pathway there or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just, hey, Claude Code, whip up a name, something that's going to do this. Or I don't know.
Yeah, because I know it can do it if you bring everything down into a PDF. Then there's the question of, do you want to give Claude Cowork access to all
Claude
these
Cowork, yeah.
all these work papers, right? All this PII or sensitive information. So that's a separate question. And I know there's some folks that say, "Ah, screw it," and there's other folks that are like, "Oh my God, no way." But then you lose the like. I'd still rather do it in the tool and have to do a little bit more manual stuff than have to do it in PDF. And so, but I do think eventually. I mean, I'm not a tech. Like, I'm admittedly not as fluent in this stuff as I probably ought to be, as we probably all ought to be. But I think that is like inevitable. That within the near future, you'll be able to just set these things loose in the browser, straight into the tools, and it'll be safe enough to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you asked a good point. So like I'm in a networking group. I'm in BNI in Charlotte in the Ballantyne area. Anyway, one of the guys that I was there with, he's like, he's asking me about like my process. He's an ex CFO and he's actually doing marketing now with his wife. But anyway, he was like, well, how do you know that the models aren't using your data? And I'm like, honestly, as a layperson, I don't know that. I just checked the box that said, don't train on my data. So if they are, then I guess that's on them. And maybe they have a class action lawsuit on their hands. If that button works, then I guess I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, and there's Jason Stats. If I don't know if you're familiar, is yeah,
I've seen,
yeah. He made a great point on a podcast, which is like, not to say it's the right answer, but basically the point was, hey, every time that when you get a TaxDome or a Financial Sense or a Stanford Tax, right? How much due diligence are you doing to make sure that that the tool is safe and compliant, right? Or most of us just look at it and say, hey, this is a tax industry tool, and we just kind of assume that, oh, because it's a tax industry tool, like it's probably safe. And then there's like the SOC 2 compliant, so you can quickly kind of look up. That's like kind of my mental check, right? Is this thing safe or not, right? But
sure.
I feel like a lot of folks, we hold the AI tools to a higher standard than we hold, like a lot of folks just wouldn't even bat an eye about chucking client information into a practice management system without doing any due diligence on whether the practice management system is safe, right, and secure. But the second it's AI, people freak out. And not to say that they shouldn't, right? Not to say that you shouldn't, apply some due diligence. But it's just funny to me that the level of scrutiny is so different.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, look, there's just so much. I mean, there's some tread paths in computing, I would say, that, but then you hear about like, oh, there's you can insert code into a website that you can't see and it's going to access your computer or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, really? Like, we got to worry about all the bits on our screen now or something? Like, so there is some balance, I think, right? It's like, who's an operator that, and I think that could be a lot of what some of the incumbents have going for them, even in the age of AI, is that like, hey, like, you've trusted us with your data for 20 years or however many years, and we're going to continue to be secure with it, and have like, give it the right pathways of access and all of that. Whereas maybe like an upstart would be like, they just wouldn't have that ability to guarantee. I mean, they may technically be able to do the same thing, but it's like, I don't know. It's just it's like perception then becomes reality, and it's like people aggregate towards like, I mean, QuickBooks being the biggest example, QBO.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it's completely ubiquitous, and even if you don't want to, it's hard not to deal with it. Um, yeah.
And you bring up a good point, is because I really liked Xero when it first came out. It
Mhm.
wasn't like really on par with QuickBooks Desktop even, but then they added like find and recode, and then it was like, okay, now it's kind of like I can do everything that QuickBooks Desktop could do, um and I just remember that being like, I don't know, just a leveler. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with that, but
Well,
anyway.
no, no, I admittedly have never used Xero. Do you actively
Oh,
service
that's what I
clients
was
that are
gonna
on
say.
Xero?
Yeah.
Well,
So
go ahead, go ahead.
no, I guess my point was, is like, once I started using Xero, I was like, I don't want to use QBO. Like at the time, like maybe 2013, 2014, 2015, it was like, once they got that feature, it was like, okay, now like I don't have to use QBO. But then QBO really just ramped like everything, their development, their marketing, their just reach. And it was like, then clients would come to me with QBO and they're
Right.
like, look, I prefer Xero because I like that single ledger. But if you want to use QBO, like, cool, like we'll use it. And then, like you said, you just kind of learn to love it, right?
Yeah,
It's
you just
like,
deal with
okay,
it. Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah,
That's where the business is. Yeah. I don't think we've had clients come to us on desktop, and we won't service
okay,
desktop, but we'll convert them to QBO.
right, right,
But we've never had somebody come from Xero.
huh?
Like, and so I've had no reason to go out and try. And my thing is like, maybe it is better, but I'm where the clients are. And I hate QuickBooks. I hate many
Look,
things about
man,
QuickBooks Online, but
that's the right thing. I mean, look, that's the right way to be. I think that's like client centric. I think for a period, like I've been doing this a long time. For a
uh,
period, I was a little bit of like a general ledger snob. Like,
mhm,
I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do like people that want to be on Xero. And
mhm.
then it's like, yeah, that's a little bit limiting because there are, the general ledger is the general ledger. It's like, if it's working, great. And so,
And
and
like
then
the
all of
client
the other
doesn't.
apps and yeah.
Most of the clients, at least, they don't care. At least that's what I get. The perception is like they don't see the value. Like even if one platform is a little bit better,
Yeah.
like it's better. I feel like this is a struggle we deal with. Routine. Have you used Ramp? Are you familiar with Ramp?
Yeah. Yeah. The credit cards. Yep.
Yep, yep. So we love Ramp, and it solves a bunch of problems for us.
Hmm.
And has a ton of use cases that apply to a lot of our clients. But we've struggled to get clients to see the value of getting on Ramp because the value is really. I mean, I definitely believe there's value for the client too. Just internal controls and risk management and spending control and budgeting. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but the client, like they're like, okay, so I'm gonna lose my Amex points, and I'm like, you're gonna get cash back, like it's gonna be the same, and it's gonna save a ton of time, but they don't they they're not the ones sitting there doing it, right? They don't, and so we've struggled to communicate like why you should switch or why you should be motivated to switch in a way that's not just like, hey, this will be easier for us, um, which is not necessarily compelling, right, for the client.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and that's
Exactly.
the trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's for sure an issue. Yeah, I mean, I remember I worked with like expense management is always a big thing once a client scales, because now a bunch of different people have access to the corporate credit card or need expense reimbursements or something. And it's, but Ramp seems
we've
to
had
exist to
clients
solve that.
we've had clients see the value after the fact, like after they
Yeah.
have some unauthorized spend or something. Then it's like, okay,
And it's like, all right,
but
we'll do it.
yeah, right. But I don't like the fear mongering on people. I mean, I have no problem with it. It's real. Like, hey, like if we move you to this platform, then you don't have to worry about somebody just taking the company card to the liquor store. But still, I've struggled. We've struggled to communicate the value of it, because I think we look at it from a firm centric perspective instead of like from the client's perspective.
Well, I mean, you could lead with that. Then it's like, hey, like this is cost control for you. Like that's
Right.
really it. If you don't want that, then cool. Like, but if you do, then this will solve it.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
I think Brex, like there are other companies that are doing that thing too, right? Like
Mhm.
I think Brex is one of them, and it's like different flavors of expense management.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, more and more, I feel like kind of what you were saying originally, maybe not on the general ledger, but on the tools that support it. More and more, we're trying to kind of standardize and to just say like, hey, this is the
I
tools.
get it.
Like if you want us to do bill pay, we do bill pay, but we do it on this tool. Or like if you want us to do payroll, well, we won't do payroll, but we'll do like payroll. We call it payroll support. Like we'll do it, but we're not touching QuickBooks Online Payroll. Like you're going to be on one of these, right? It's what we're trying to do that more and more, and just limit the number of platforms that we have to touch. But it's a balancing act because sometimes the clients sometimes it's tough passing up a client if they have a specific platform or a specific need to use something that's not your kind of go-to.
And again, I think we're circling back to the theme. I think, maybe AI can customize that a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Just to make that easier.
I think it's inevitable. And I hear a lot of folks that talk about like, well, eventually it'll get to the point where the biggest user of these platforms is the AI, right? Like where you have more AI, like more inputs into the general ledger are coming from AI versus from an actual human user. And so then how much does the user interface and like all the things that we like or dislike about softwares, how much does that matter? It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah,
right?
You're just going straight to the database, right?
Right. It just becomes like the only terminal that we even have to touch is the AI. Eventually, like at least if you take it to the logical extreme, right? Right. There's a world where
it's like, let's and frankly, they might make more money that way, because then they're not limited to these like subscriptions. It's like, hey, what kind of activity is happening within? I mean, I don't want to give them any more business ideas,
like a usage.
But that I'm sure they've already thought of that. It's like, hey, if we're getting a lot of activity or transactions to this database, like now we can maybe charge based on usage or something, like if versus
the subscription, the SaaS model. No, it's fascinating, and it's just tough. It's tough because there's so many competing demands for time, right? And the AI, it's something that's like I just intrinsically know that however much time I'm spending on AI and like tinkering with it and finding use cases and like it's not enough. But at the same time, you got to keep running the business and you got to keep producing the work and doing right. And so it's tough. It's tough feeling like not feeling like you're behind.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that feeling, and I think that it can be overwhelming sometimes, right? Because it's like, hey, keeping up, am I doing enough? Am I staying ahead of the the technological curve, and it's like, yeah, you're right. It's like you can never do enough, and maybe that's kind of the point. Is like you kind of have to do what you can do, and then it just go as in stages and keep your sanity, right? And just
Yeah.
and do what you can do. Keep the wheels going. Keep servicing. Solve like actual problems, and then build on that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a perspective I've tried to keep, and to be honest, it's run away from me a few times where it's like, like you said, it's like, hey, I could never do enough, and it's like, well, um, you can do what you can do.
Yeah. No, it's true. There's always more. There's always more you could be doing.
Yeah.
That's just the game. Yeah. Well, I we went so deep on tech stack and AI. And we haven't talked much about the practice. But what are you working on right now in your firm? Right, like big picture wise, what are you working on?
Mm. I mean, big picture, it's like we're just I mean, so we just came off the tax deadline,
Yep.
and so now there's like some time to focus on building out. I've been pitching a couple, been meeting with somebody about, taxes, tax planning, tax
Hmm.
prep, um, and prior year stuffs, maybe some tax representation, like things that hadn't been filed and we can catch them up, or if there's something that the IRS is after them, we just put something in with the tax advocate. So just kind of like just normal stuff, like, w- but also building like on the tools, like on I never got to the transition, but I started with Replit, and then I transitioned that to Cursor, and then so
Mm.
Cursor is like the new, or is the portal that I'm kind of like working in, and that goes directly, so that doesn't have any hosting abilities. That's like the raw like coding area that then it can connect and push to GitHub. Um, but whereas like Replit, everything's within that like end to end. Whereas like with Cursor, I don't even know what you call it, maybe an AI agent or something, and it can do a lot of the same things that Replit does with probably the same similar models, but it's like it doesn't have all of the pieces that you need. You have to like, then get a database, and then, push your own commits to GitHub and stuff like that. So it's more putting the pieces together of the building but we're doing that, and just um trying to solve client problems either like on its own or in parallel with like what we're currently using.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's big picture. I don't know if that's the direction what you're asking.
Well, I mean, for us, kind of like I said before, right? It's like the knowing the application, increasing our application, the number of use cases that we're applying AI to is like a constant priority, but it's not for us. It's not like I struggle with saying, hey, within the firm, right? Like there's one priority. That's what makes it a priority, right? Like what's the next thing we're trying to do?
Okay.
And um and I struggle with kind of exactly it's like the applying of application of AI, I feel like is very important. But I'm also like I don't think it's the limiting factor for our business today. And so I struggle with
It's R&D for sure.
yeah, right.
It's
That's exactly it. It's R&D. And it's like
yeah.
you should be doing it. It's wise to do it. I
Yeah,
feel like I should be doing right, but I'm like, there's other stuff that has to get done that has immediate payoff or
exactly.
guaranteed, not guaranteed, nothing guaranteed, but more guaranteed payoff. Um, and so I just, yeah, I always, I either feel guilty because I'm tinkering with the AI instead of doing other things that I know, like building, systems or working on firm kind of problems and improvements. And then when I'm working on the firm stuff or just servicing the clients,
Oh
then
yeah,
I'm
I
like,
mean, you just
I
you
should be
just
using more
touched on
AI. Yeah.
you just touched on a whole like I mean, we're at an hour here and like
Yeah.
you're just now now I'm like you just touched on like you said firm and I
Yeah.
thought of like okay, now we're talking like operations, like
Yeah.
marketing, uh fulfillment, like all of the pieces, all integrating, like yeah, okay, so there's still that too, but yeah,
Yeah. No,
no,
it's
that's
true.
but you're right. That's the important part is like having those systems in place to get things done, to solve the client problems, serve the client needs, and keep those relationships and hopefully help the actual business owner make the. I mean, we have the motto. It's like help enable them to make the smart decisions. So it's like, what can we do? We can do our job so that we can give them the information that they need to make the right decisions for their business.
Yeah. Well, you're right that we're at an hour. So if it's all right with you, David, let's transition to what we call kind of the final five. It's just the same five questions we ask every guest at the end of every episode. And so the first question there is, what is your favorite business book?
I mean, wow. I'm gonna have to say Cash Flow Quadrant, just because we brought up Robert Kiyosaki
Robert,
earlier.
yeah. That's I read that one a long time ago. And
It's an
I
interesting one.
I like that one more than Rich Dad Poor Dad. Everybody knows Robert Kiyosaki by Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I like the Cash Flow Quadrant more. At least me personally. I remember, it's been a minute, but I
Yeah.
thought it was more tangible. I don't know. But yeah, no, right on. That's a good one. I love me some Kiyosaki. What about what is one system or tool? I know we talked about a couple, but if you had to pick one system or tool that you couldn't run your firm without, what would it be?
I mean, today I would say, just because we're coming off of tax season, I'd say ProConnect.
Yeah,
Just because, yeah, I mean, like that's what actually helps us file the actual tax return.
yeah. And you've been on ProConnect how long now?
A while. I mean, since like I said, I started with Lacert and then
Yeah.
transitioned, and it basically ProConnect is like Lacert in the cloud, effectively.
Mhm.
Um,
And
so
and
I don't know.
you really like it? Like is it how happy are you with it? Because we're in the
I mean,
market. We're in the market, and I'm like
yeah.
leaning into access, but I'm curious.
Um, you know, I'm sure it has. I know it has aspects of tools that we're not using, but it just gets the job done. It's cloud based, so it's any
That's the
browser,
big
remote team. It it just works,
yeah.
and so and it handles a lot of breadth of problems and states and issues and all of that. So it's rare that we'll run into a situation, in a certain locality that we're not able to file for.
Yeah. Yeah, the glitches in the matrix are few and far between. Well, yeah, no, we'll have to check it out. Yeah, on our quest to find a new tax software, I had some experience with UltraTax and was leaning in that direction, but I've just heard so many horror stories from people going to do their renewals that they'll they'll jack up your renewal prices once they've got you, and then it's a pain in the butt having to switch off. And so then I'm like, okay, what's a similar product and kind of was looking at CCH, but I do love the idea of having something in the cloud. I don't know if I love the idea of having to work with Intuit, but I do love the idea of having something in the cloud.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's SaaS, you know. I mean, you're gonna run
Mhm.
into the it's not as quick as probably a desktop software that you're. So definitely, if you really like that, then it's probably not the best tool. But it's for our firm, it just works.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to deal with hosting. Yeah, there's a bunch of I'm sure there's a ton of advantages.
True.
Yeah, the hosting's a bit of a pain, but okay. Well, what about do you have any events or conferences that you're planning on attending in the coming year?
There's something coming to Charlotte that I heard about. I haven't necessarily planned on doing that, but I am planning on going to XeroCon in
Okay.
Denver this year.
Okay.
Uh,
We're trying to we're always on the lookout for conferences to go to.
and
Um
I think Intuit Connect, right? They I don't know if they're going back to Las Vegas, but that's where they were last year. They have something every year.
did you go to that one last year? Or have you been to it
I went
before?
there, yeah. It was my first one actually, and
Really? Was it good?
it was good. I mean, they were, they acknowledged they're like, we're all in on AI. Like that was their thing. Intuit was. And yeah, one other thing, and I commented is like, a lot of accountants, like you mentioned, like earlier, you're like, oh, well, then I'd have to work with Intuit, right? And it's like, a lot of they have to communicate to so many different people that they piss so many people off,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And it's like, okay, you're not the only person who said that. It's like other people are like, oh yeah, Intuit doesn't like accountants or something. And then at the end of the conference, they have this like drum solo like line for all of us walking out. It was like, oh my gosh, like you're like, it was just like the coolest thing to do,
Mhm.
And it was like, how are you the same company that does all this
That
other stuff?
that does all of that. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
A little bit of
Is
bipolar there. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, I'm curious because that one I think that would definitely be a good one for us, and we haven't been in the past, and so I appreciate the recommendation there, and yeah, we're gonna have to check it out. Well, cool. What about when you're not running your practice? What do you like to do outside of work? Do you have any hobbies?
Yeah, about like twice a day I'm walking the dog.
Honestly, I need to be doing more of that, especially now that it's nice out.
Sometimes only once a day, but I try to do it like twice a day.
What kind of dog do you have?
Mini golden doodle.
That's cool. That's cute.
Yeah, he's a good boy. But we have I have a bunch of kids, and sometimes it can get a little, he can get fired up and like that, and it's like, oh, he stole my thing, and then it's like, all right, we got to do the substitution, or else there's gonna be like fireworks. Like, I don't know. Do you have a dog?
We've got a dog. I joke she's we got her. I was in the Army and I was stationed at Fort Benning, and
Yeah.
that's in Chattahoochee County, Georgia. And so I joke that she's a Chattahoochee County Terrier. But she's just a mutt. She's a total mutt. I
Nice.
just make, but she's a good puppy. We love her to death.
Well, wait a sec. You're in Alaska?
No.
No.
So I was in Alaska when we started the firm, but we're in
Okay.
Pinehurst, North Carolina. So we're about an hour and a half.
Oh,
down
you're
the
in
road
North
from you.
Carolina. Okay, now. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, Georgia, that's a long way. Yeah, no. Okay, so yeah, yeah, no, those are my hobbies. I mean, I used to try to play a lot of golf, and then I just don't anymore. Like sometimes I'll go to the range. I mean, I guess I'd like to like maybe play 9 every now and again, but I like yeah, just I try to get out and walk the dog. couple times a day.
Oh, that's good. I need to get more. It's golf. It's nice out. It's time to go play golf. Especially
There you
before.
go.
I mean, it's already kind of getting hot, but before it gets way too hot. Um,
Yeah.
Well, cool. What about our last question? Where can people go to connect with you or find out more about you?
Just the website, probably tunstallorg.com, and we're building out a bunch of landing pages for each of the services that we do. So we're gonna have some free resources like some aka lead magnets, right, where
Yeah.
you can just pull and just leave your contact number, your contact info, and then get those tools, or just reach out through the website.
Well, sweet, and we'll link that. We'll make sure we get that linked in the show notes for anybody interested. So, well, David,
Amazing.
I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. It's a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me, and thanks for having me. It was a great chat. Thanks, Nick.
That is our episode with David Tunstall. David, thanks again for taking the time to come on the show. If you ever miss an exit driving home and find yourself in Pinehurst, North Carolina, please don't hesitate to reach out and love to go play some golf. Go play some low quality golf with you. Emphasis on the low quality, especially from this guy. Especially from this guy. I say this guy. People listening might think I'm talking about myself. I also suck at golf, but that was a reference to you, Matt. That was me dissing your golf game.
I make absolutely zero claims about my golf ability.
Matt's not going to defend. He's just going to.
I'm just trying to have fun.
It's not what it's about. It's not about fun. It's not about fun. That was never what it was about.
But yeah,
just gonna take
pretty good episode. And another one of those episodes. Sometimes where I'd like to jump in, but not every time, so it's okay. And another local to North Carolina guest. Which is cool. We had two North Carolina guests this week. So
it's been a lot of fun having local folks on the show. You're always welcome. You're always welcome to chime in. There's been a couple times where I fully expect somebody says something or I'll say something, and I just fully expect you to just unmute and come in swinging. You're always welcome. Let it be said that I have invited Matt multiple times to chip in, but I don't know. He's a man of few words, and the less you say, the more people will listen when you do speak. So the people will eagerly. Matt's not amused. The people will eagerly await you jumping in one day and giving us your thoughts. But yeah, I thought it was a great episode. Thanks again to David for taking the time to come on. If you got some value from the show, please take a minute and drop us a like or give us a follow on whatever platform you're listening to. We've got a link in the show notes if you'd like to come on and be a guest. And aside from that, we'll see you guys all in the next one.
Yep. See you guys next time.